Hey there! From the KUOW newsroom, this is Seattle Now. I'm Paige Browning, back in the saddle today. Thanks for keeping us in your downloads as we launch further into summer. There's a lot of news today, so let's get to today's headlines. It's Monday, July 14th. A well-known farm labor organizer in Washington's Skagit Valley has decided to give up his deportation fight for now and return to Mexico. Alfredo Juarez Zeferino has been detained at the Northwest ICE Processing Center in Tacoma since March. A crowd of supporters gathered outside there this morning while his immigration hearing took place inside. His attorney, Larkin Vanderhoffs, says this latest decision was tough for Juarez.
He is a fighter, and he wanted to fight. He wanted to be released to his community that he's a part of and in many ways a leader of.
But Vanderhoff says poor conditions at the facility and steep legal odds of getting out are why Juarez decided to give up the fight. Juarez's 15-year-old sister, Alea Juarez Zeferino, was in the court with him today.
I think that it's really unfair. My brother has done nothing wrong but help people, and that's all he's ever wanted. It hurts me seeing so many families being torn apart.
Juarez has no criminal record. He was arrested by ICE in March because of a standing deportation order resulting from a traffic stop when he was 15. His family says he never received that order. An elite team of disaster responders based in Pierce County has joined the flood recovery efforts in Texas. Washington Task Force 1 sent a 4-person team there on Friday to stay for 2 weeks. They're one of the 28 urban search and rescue teams around the country run by FEMA. The flash flooding that swept through central Texas July 4th has killed more than 130 people. Here in the Pacific Northwest, the Puget Sound region is getting ready for another heat wave. A heat advisory kicks in tomorrow at noon in the Seattle area and lasts until Wednesday night. Temperatures will climb into the mid to upper 80s tomorrow and possibly the 90s Wednesday. So the National Weather Service is urging people to schedule any strenuous activities for the early morning or the evening Tuesday and Wednesday. Washington state has banned the sale or transport of English ivy and its cousin, Atlantic ivy. The popular holiday decorations are aggressively invasive species in Northwest forests. Landscape architect Christy Park of Bellingham was one of 4 people who petitioned the state to ban the invasive vine.
These are uncertain times, and sometimes it feels difficult to make a difference, but I heard about the issue, realized I could do something about it, and it actually wasn't terribly difficult to file the petition, and it happened.
The statewide ban on ivy sales takes effect next month. State officials say they received hundreds of comments in support of banning ivy and none against it. Ivy can take over large areas of the forest floor and choke off other plants. Washington's the second state to ban ivy, 15 years after Oregon became the first. One of Seattle's largest companies is going back to the office almost full-time. Starbucks issued new in-office requirements in a memo posted to employees today from CEO Brian Niccol. First, all corporate people leaders must be based in either Seattle or Toronto within 12 months, so some who are remote will have to relocate. Second, the coffee giant says corporate employees will need to be in the office 4 days a week starting early October. As for Niccol, he was not required to relocate to Seattle when he was hired last August. A spokesperson says he's since bought a home in Seattle, but did not disclose how often he's at the office. The company is offering voluntary buyouts to employees who don't want to relocate. In education news, new public school discipline rules just took effect in Washington. They'll make it easier for teachers to send students out of the classroom. Ann Dornfeld reports.
In the past decade, the state's K-12 discipline rules have changed to reduce how often kids are kicked out of class or school altogether. Now the state has rolled back some of those changes to give teachers and principals more leeway in exclusionary discipline decisions and fewer reporting requirements. Karen Pillar is with Team Child, which advocates against exclusionary discipline. She says the state's move will fall hardest on Black and disabled students who are disciplined at the highest rates.
The rewrite does a couple things that I think are just really problematic and just sort of highlight, I guess, that we're still in a state where public education is not leaning in to figuring out the ways to reduce disproportionality.
Pillar says she'll be looking at how the new rules affect discipline rates when students return to school this fall. Ann Dornfeld, KUOW News.
And another education heads up for parents and students. Washington's public health officials say now's the time to get kids vaccinated before the upcoming school year. The Department of Health is reminding people now because child vaccination rates have been low since the COVID-19 pandemic. In conjunction, Washington saw a 25-fold increase in whooping cough cases last year compared to the previous year. Big sports news. The MLB Home Run Derby is tonight, featuring Seattle Mariners' very own Cal Raleigh amongst 8 total competitors. Raleigh's looking to become the first catcher to ever win the event, which has been running since 1985. Even if he doesn't win tonight, the man nicknamed Big Dumper is still leading the entire major leagues in homers this year with 38, one shy of the record for most homers hit before the All-Star break. In fact, Raleigh's only 11 home runs away from setting the record for most in a season by a catcher. And there's more Cal Raleigh news today. He was also announced as the starting catcher for Team USA in the 2026 World Baseball Classic, an off-season tournament of the best international teams in baseball. In food, PCC Community Markets is back in downtown Seattle. The 72-year-old co-op returns after closing in 2024, but now in a smaller footprint. Ruby DeLuna reports.
When PCC Corner Market opens this week, it'll focus more on prepared foods for downtown workers and residents. CEO Krish Srinivasan says the need for fresh food in downtown hasn't changed, but the co-op had to make adjustments to keep it viable.
The data that we have from the original store was that the deli and the fresh food section was doing great.
The co-op will still stock some kitchen staples like milk and eggs. Alex Hudson heads an organization which helps people get around without driving alone.
A huge reason that people drive alone is because they need to get things between their workday and their home day.
Hudson says having this kind of store could help with that. Ruby DeLuna, KUOW News.
Lastly today, Seattleites are setting ridership records for scooters and e-bikes. The Seattle Times reports people took more than 1 million rides on Lime vehicles in June. That's an all-time high for the city and puts Seattle near the top scooter markets nationwide. Pride weekend in Seattle was one of the busiest for June. A recent UW research report shows injuries have been increasing alongside electric scooter use. It found 282 injuries between 2018 and 2023, with many involving alcohol use. And that's all for today from the KUOW Newsroom in Seattle. Our producer today is Vaughn Jones, and I'm Paige Browning. Seattle Now and KUOW are members of the NPR network. See you soon.